nominate Honorable Tajuddin Abbas.
I so second.
I rise to humbly accept the nomination.
Is hereby declared the winner and returned elected as the Speaker of the House of Representatives.
It's time for another fresh package of the legislative program, House Tickets, coming to you on the NTA Parliament. Glad to have you join us today. The House is on recess, and while the short break from plenary lasts, we will review some of the matters of urgent national importance which the House deliberated upon and adopted before the House embarked on recess. The program also continues with the interview we had with lawmaker Nat'l Usman Balami. Stay tuned for this interesting package right after this break.
The House will pay priority attention to participatory budgeting process and delivery, law reform, electoral reform, women's participation and inclusion in governance, among others.
Welcome back. As earlier mentioned at the beginning of the program, we shall review some of the matters of urgent public importance considered and passed on the 19th and 20th of March 2024, just before it went on recess. Let us have the report as compiled and presented from the studios.
Loyal and honest, to serve Nigeria with all my strength, to defend our unity and uphold our honor and glory. So help me God. Arise.
Representative Jeremiah Umaru on Tuesday 19th March 2024 moved a motion on the destruction of schools and buildings in Akwanga of Nasarawa State by a heavy rainstorm.
On the 16th day of March 2024, there was a heavy rainstorm which resulted in significant destruction and displacement of communities and schools in Akwanga, Nasarawa, Egon, Awamba, Federal Constituency of Nasarawa State. Also note that the rainstorm, which destroyed homes and schools, has rendered my constituents homeless, disrupted the education of students in these communities, and has put some residents in critical conditions with serious degrees of injuries. Further note that the impact of the rainstorm is such that the displaced members of the communities are in their need of immediate intervention.
Representative Jeremiah called on the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to provide relief materials to the victims and ensure the reconstruction of the destroyed infrastructure, and that the House Committee on Emergency and Disaster Preparedness should ensure compliance.
Those in support of this motion should say aye.
The motion was voted on, adopted, and referred to the House Committee on NEMA.
There's it.
I rise to move a motion.
Another matter of urgent national importance was moved by Representative Pascal Agbodike. It was on the urgent need for the federal government through the National High Commission on Refugees, Migrants and Displaced Persons and other relevant agencies to come to the aid of the plight being suffered by residents of Ihiala community in Anambra State due to attacks by armed criminals. The motion was moved on Wednesday, 20th March 2024.
These incessant attacks have resulted in the unwanted loss of lives, arson, and displacement of the people from their ancestral homes, thereby rendering the place a shadow of itself. Concerned that economic activities in the once peaceful and boisterous local government has been completely grounded by the nefarious activities of these armed criminals. Further concerned that the activities of this criminal gang have had various negative implications
on the social life of our constituents. As Professor Charles Chukwu Masoludo, the governor of Anambra State, has been doing his best in ameliorating the suffering of our people, but cannot do it all alone. Hence, this my motion, sir.
The lawmaker then called on the relevant government agencies to provide succor to the affected individuals.
Those in favor of this motion should say aye.
The motion was voted on, adopted, and referred to the House Committees on National High Commission on Refugees, Migrants and Displaced Persons, National Emergency Management Agency (NEMA), as well as that on agricultural production.
The ayes have it.
I rise on order 8.
Still on matters of urgent public importance, Representative James Barker on the same day moved a motion on the need to address the insecurity in communities in Hong, Adamawa State.
A whole village has been wiped out completely over the years, and the recent one was the killings and sacking of another village neighboring that same village that was displaced before. Mr. Speaker, my colleagues, 2 persons were killed last week, precisely on the 13th of March. 6 died in the hospital, and several are receiving treatment at this particular moment. Right now, the displaced persons are taking refuge in the local government headquarters of Hong local government. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, it may interest you to note that every month these bandits come to this community to abduct or to kill and disappear, and nothing happens. Over 40 persons were abducted some years ago. At the moment, as we are talking, these persons have not returned home. They are still in captive.
He called on the National Emergency Management Agency (NEMA) to provide succor to the victims, and that the House Committee on NEMA as well as that on Northeast Development Commission are to ensure compliance.
Motion should say aye.
The motion was voted on, adopted, and referred to the House Committee on NEMA as well as that on Northeast Development Commission.
The ayes have it.
Several motions on the order paper were voted on and adopted, one of which was moved by Representative Marie Ebikake on the need to assess environmental impact of transporting crude oil by mega seagoing vessels from Nembe Creek trunk to offshore crude oil storage in the Atlantic Ocean by ITO E&P.
The commencement of the transportation of crude oil using mega seagoing vessels by ITO E&P to reduce the distance of crude oil transportation through pipelines and drastically minimize the incidence of crude oil theft. They are also aware of the construction of an oil tank farm at the Nembe Creek flow station, from where crude oil are transported via the St. John Rio Bento River through Nembe, Brass, Okpoma, and Beletema to the offshore crude oil storage facility in the Atlantic Ocean, 27 kilometers off the shoreline of the island of Brass. Worried about the effects of the project on the environment and humans in terms of shoreline erosion, accident from collision of operational vessels, and the possible loss of lives.
The resolutions were for the House to urge the Federal Ministry of Environment to compel the management of ITO E&P to conduct an environment impact assessment on the project as dictated by the Environment Impact Assessment Act 2004 and include the host communities, the state government and stakeholders in line with international global practice, subject to scrutiny of the public and environmental experts. Mandate the Committee on Environment and Petroleum Resources Midstream to investigate environmental impact of transporting crude oil by mega seagoing vessels from Nembe Creek trunk to offshore crude oil storage in the Atlantic Ocean by ITO E&P, and monitor compliance with the Ministry of Environment and the management of ITO E&P with the requirement and report back to the House within 4 weeks for further legislative action. The motion was referred to the Committee on Federal Roads Maintenance Agency for further legislative action.
Clerk.
Apathy in inscribing made in Nigeria.
Still on motions, Representative Joseph Nwaobasi moved a motion on the need to inscribe Made in Nigeria on goods produced in Nigeria.
The House is worried that if the apathy in inscribing made in Nigeria on the goods produced in Nigeria is not checked and corrected, other countries will claim right for Nigeria goods and materials exported, thereby hindering the competitiveness in the international market. Aware that China, Taiwan, and India are facing similar challenges as Nigeria.
As a resolution, the House urged the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment through the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, to mandate all companies to inscribe Made in Nigeria on all goods manufactured in Nigeria and mandate the Committee on Industry to interface with the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria and other relevant bodies to ensure total compliance and adherence. Moving on, several bills were presented for first reading. They include Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Alteration Bill 2024, sponsored by Representative Karim Tajuddin Abishodun; Chartered Institute of Health Care Management of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2024, sponsored by Representative Benjamin Okiezie Kalu; Northeast Development Commission Act Amendment Bill 2024, sponsored by Representative Ali Issa Jesse; National Identity Management Commission Act Repeal and Enactment Bill 2024, sponsored by Representative Julius Ihonvere; Nigeria Digital Literacy Management Office Establishment Bill 2024, sponsored by Representative Abubakar Hassan Fulata.
And I rise this morning with your permission to move.
The House during the week under review also debated a bill before it. It was a bill for an act to amend the Federal Polytechnic Act 2010 to establish Federal Institute of Technical and Vocational Education in Meko, Ogun State, for the purpose of providing qualitative education in technical and vocational education and for related matters.
Meko is one of those border communities that required a lot of development to increase the level of economic activities and also reduce, inter-border crimes. Aside the Nigeria Police and the Nigeria Customs, there is no other federal presence in Imeko, even as a local government. And we feel that this will help in enhancing economic development in that axis.
Motion should say aye.
The bill was voted on, approved and referred to the House Committee on Federal Polytechnics and Higher Education.
The ayes have it. Clerk.
Bill for an act to amend the Federal Polytechnics Act 2010 to establish Federal Institute of Technical and Vocational Education, Imeko, Ogun State, for the purpose of providing qualitative education in technical and vocational education and for related matters. Second reading.
Another bill that skilled second reading was titled A Bill for an Act to amend the Compulsory Free Universal Basic Education Act (CAP) C-52 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004 and for related matters.
The original intention and mandate of the Commission as contained in the extant Act is to provide greater access to and ensure quality of basic education throughout Nigeria. Going by this, basic education is to be provided by the federal government, and it shall be compulsory, free, universal, and qualitative. The extant law establishing the UBEC, while laudable, has not achieved the significant aspects of its set goals as intended.
Those in favor of this motion should say aye.
Aye. The bill was voted on, approved, and referred to the House Committee on Basic Education and Services.
There's have it. Clerk.
3 bills were also passed at third reading. They are a bill for an act to establish the National Research and Innovation Council and National Research and Innovation Fund to set national priorities on research, innovation and development and for related matters. A bill for an act to establish National Assembly Budget and Research Office, which provides the National Assembly with objective, timely and non-partisan analysis needed for economic and budget decisions and for related matters. And a bill for an act to amend the Federal Colleges of Education Act (CAP) F8, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to establish Federal College of Education in Kebbi State and for related matters. The bills were read the third time and passed.
The House will pay priority attention to participatory budgeting process and delivery, law reform, electoral reform, women's participation and inclusion in governance, among others.
If you just joined us, the program is House Ticket, the weekly education on the activities of the House of Representatives, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Lawmaker Nat'l Usman Balami represents Askira Uba Hawul Federal Constituency of Borno State. Concerned about the spate of insecurity in his constituency, the lawmaker on Tuesday, 20th February 2024, moved a motion on the need to tackle killings in some communities in Borno State.
The residents of Sabon Gari, Kelle, Dile, Lassa, and Musa have been subjected to a harrowing ordeal and trauma that affect the area and claim the life of numerous citizens in those communities, including travelers going for a wedding event. Worried that the periodic attack continues and there was no humanitarian assistance that had been provided to the victims to cushion the effect of the attack, there is dire need for urgent intervention by the Nigerian National Emergency Management Agency, humanitarian organization, and other relevant establishments. Aware that this incessant attack continues to pose threat to life and property, Nigerian territorial integrity, and overall development of the Nigerian state, there is need to wake up and contain the security challenge in Askira Uba Hawul Federal Constituency and our country in general cannot be overemphasized. Also worried that such brazen acts of terrorism do not only threaten the lives and livelihood of residents of Sabon Gari, Kelle, Dile, Lassa, and Musa, but also undermine the peace and stability of Borno State, the Northeast region, and Nigeria as a whole.
House Ticket spoke to the lawmaker after his motion was debated on the floor of the House. He speaks on the reasons behind the motion.
There have been an intermittent and periodic attack by Boko Harams, most especially in Askira Uba, Hawul Federal Constituency. This attack has been going on unabated, and mostly this attack has been happening around areas of Lassa Zone. To be specific, maybe areas of Musa Ward have suffered attack. Places like Kelle, places like Dile, and even last week, some of our people were going to Musa and some were going to Dile for wedding, and a landmine was planted on the road. Sadly, their car trapped on it and it exploded and killed a lot of people. My heart bleeds for our people. This critical period of economic hardship, they have been also under siege. They've been serious attack by insecurity, preventing them from going to their farms and even doing their normal activities. These have called for a national attention.
Representative Usman speaks further on the motion.
I can tell you from my constituency, people from even Gulde Ward, most people from there are not able to go to school. They have been under serious constraint due to the security problems. And my interaction, my consultation, I've been constantly in touch with our people at home. I want to appreciate sincerely the traditional leadership, our emirs, for effort that have been done to deploy community vigilante and other stakeholders that have been helping up to ensure that we have some level of the vigilante working to protect our people.
The lawmaker further gave his constituents, as well as Nigerians, the assurance that the relevant committees of the House will ensure compliance to the prayers of the motion.
We cannot continue to fold our hands. As a legislator, as a representative of the people, we will not remain silent. We will continue to call on the federal government to do its first responsibility of ensuring life and property are protected. And that is why I am here, to speak on behalf of my people, to aid out their view and call for the attention of the federal government to be able to discharge their responsibility in providing security in our zone, in as much as also the security, they should also provide support, relief material and food to our people.
Away from the motion, Representative Usman told us what his experience has been as a federal lawmaker being in the House of Representatives for the first time.
As a first-timer, and after spending 8 months in this honorable chamber, I can say that we came with a lot of big expectation for our people. But having come here, we are faced with the realities. At home, there's this mixture of really understanding of the role of the executive, the legislator, and then the judiciary arm of government. Here, I find it that a lot of things need to be done, most especially for our constituents at home, to really understand that the role and responsibility, most especially stipulated by the Constitution for the legislator, is not as much as the way they expect. So the expectation is higher than what we have seen on ground. But so far, we're able to work even in line with some of the agenda we have shared earlier before I got elected.
The lawmaker, who happens to be the Deputy Chairman House Committee on Communications, also told House Ticket what Nigerians are to expect from the committee.
We provide a legislative framework to strengthen the communication sector. Most especially, if you look at it, the insecurity have become a very serious issue. And people have been calling that, what is the telecommunication digital economy doing about that? The NCC and all of the agencies that are there, what are we doing? We have had this conversation and a lot of work is being put in place. We're pushing the agencies to make sure that we up our game. We're able to provide that opportunity for Nigerians to tackle insecurity problem through the telecommunication and communication sector. We're also looking at a situation whereby it provides a source of job openings and a source of livelihood for young people. This is a digital era, and we want young Nigerians, most especially the youth, unemployed, to be able to tap source of livelihood and live their life to fulfill their potential based on the opportunity that the communication sector will open up. So I want to believe that we will walk around the clock.
Representative Usman, however, had this call for Nigerians.
Nigerians should expect a very robust, efficient, and effective representation under the leadership of Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, PhD, who have been piloting the affairs of the House and have been ensuring that we walk through the framework that we respond to our people as the representative of the people. So the House, the People House, is here accountable, and we will make sure that we do that which work with the yearning of our people and able to meet some of the expectation. I cannot say all of the expectation because the expectation is high, but I want to also say that it's a hard time now. The economic hardship and is beating very hard. We want to say that at every given opportunity, everyone should find a window to share the little we have with everyone.
Do keep your comments, observations and questions coming in through our platforms showing on your screen. We'll do our best to get our representatives address them accordingly. And on this note, we say, let us do this again next week on this same station. Bye for now.